I'd like to start out by asking you, before you joined the Army, what were you doing?
I got out of high school in June, and I enlisted, and I was 17 years old, and my mother had to go with me down to St. Paul and sign for me, and I couldn't get in the Navy because I was colorblind, but I did enlist in the Army, and from there I went to Camp Blanding, Florida, which is west of Jacksonville, a few miles, and that's where I took my infantry basic training.
Any experiences on the, that stand out in your memory in the transition from a civilian to a soldier?
I had never been out of the state of Minnesota except for shocking grain out in North Dakota, and I was on a troop train from St. Paul, and we were stuck in the stockyards in Chicago for 3 days, which was not any fun. And we got to Florida, and I couldn't believe the palm trees. I'd never seen anything like it. The weather was just great. And I think that they built Camp Blanding in a cypress swamp.
Now, after your training, when did you join the 12th Armored Division? Was it at Camp Campbell or Camp Barkley?
No, what happened was after I took my infantry basic, they wanted a battalion baker, so I was pretty good at it, and I went into Camp Blanding's bakery, and I worked there for a year, and I didn't think much of that at all, so I asked for a transfer overseas, and it come through, and I went to New York. I forgot the camp I was at there, and then we went by a Liberty ship to La Havre, France, and I was seasick most of the way, and then I got over it. We landed. I got land sick then. I couldn't stand still. Anyway, we went to a camp, not a camp, but a mess hall and stuff there. And anyway, a sergeant come around, and he asked if anyone could drive a Caterpillar. And I said yes, because I had driven a Caterpillar with the Northern Pacific Railway on a ditching crew. And I thought, boy, that's going to be kind of nice to be in a cat. But he took me to this motor pool and got me in a Sherman tank and showed me how to start it, run it. He says, you practice for a couple hours and I'll be back. So I figured, well, they'll have a dozer blade on this. It'll work out fine. And he come back, picked me up, and away we went, and all of a sudden, it's a lot of noise going on, a huge cordwood pile, and he says, this is your tank. And that was my first taste of combat. And the tank commander was Rothel, and he says, now what the hell are they sending me? Because I was only 18, and scared to death. Herschel Dehart helped me out a lot. He was with the tank, and a few of the guys, so I met them, and that was the start of it.
So your combat duty then was as the driver of the Sherman?
No, I was the assistant driver and gunner.
Very good.
And once in a while I would drive, but when Herschel was the driver and I was the gunner, and things were going along pretty fair. Our job was to break through the lines, dismantle whatever we could, and then we'd have to wait for backup with supplies and gas because we'd run out of gas. And that went on for a while. And then one morning, we were always either the lead tank out or second. And this one morning we were out and we were second tank. And we got hit. And Rothel said, get out of the tank, you know. And we did. And all of a sudden, there's Herschel up on the tank with the 50 caliber. And I hollered at him. He says, no, they're coming at us. And by golly, he used that 50 caliber to hold them off till the infantry could move up. And I never forgot that. It was just great. Another time, we had pulled into an area and they told us to hold up. We were right by an airport. And all of a sudden, well, let's see, Rothel had got off. He was going to have a cup of coffee or do something. And we got out of the tank, and all of a sudden there's Herschel on top of the tank again with this 50 caliber machine gun. And he heard a noise way down at the other end of the runway. And here was a big bomber taking off, German. And don't you know, when it got fairly close, he let fly. And you could see those tracers going right into this plane. And it went up and over us, and then it started to smoke, and then you saw the crash. And I always said that Herschel should get a medal of some kind for knocking down a bomber with a 50 caliber machine gun.
So, another question we like to ask everybody is about during the push to the Rhine, working in the Third Army under General Patton.
Oh, boy.
And everyone has an opinion about General Patton. Would you like to share yours?
He was blood and guts. He kept us going. He said, you go till you run out of fuel, we'll see that you get fuel, you know. And we did that. And there was no slowing us down. We ended up down in Austria. But before that, we were one of the first tanks into Dachau prison camp. And that is the first time that I really got tears in my eyes to see such an atrocity as that. It was unbelievably bad. And from there, we continued on south into Austria. And I'll never forget, this was right towards the end of the war. At 10:02, there was a small village in this horseshoe turn on the other side, and with the PA system, told the German soldiers to go to the east side of town and the civilians to the west side, so we could take them prisoner, and they wouldn't do it. And at, I think it was 10:02 or 10:05, we got the word to fire into the whole, unbelievable. 2 minutes later, ceasefire, the war is over. Oh, geez, those, I can't get that out of my mind, that those people were about 2 minutes away from surviving. But we took a lot of prisoners, and towards the end there was a lot of kids, German kids, and they were mean. They were fighters until they got caught, until we picked them up, and then they'd start to cry. Some of them were 12, 13 years old, you know. Tough to take.
So, after the war was over, what did you do in terms of, when did you come home?
I didn't have enough points, so I went to Karlsruhe, Germany. They transferred me over there. And we had a battalion newspaper, and they put me in charge of the Hochschule, which was kind of a high school in Germany. And they let me stay there was a nice apartment right there. And then I had the battalion supplies that I could keep locked up there. And we started the German youth with playing baseball and football. But first, their football field had been bombed out. There was a huge hole in it. We got that filled in, and the kids really enjoyed baseball. So I was there about, let's see, that winter, and I had an offer to take my discharge over there and stay with the government. And I said, no, I want to go home. So in the meantime, I had acquired a little dachshund named Lenny. It's the cutest dog in the world, you know. And it come time for me to leave, and I couldn't leave the dog. You come attached to him, you know. And so I put her in my duffel bag, and we got back to Le Havre, and I let her out and run around, and this buddy of mine says, now if you can get her on the ship and we take off, they can't leave her. So I said, okay. So I got ready to board, and I had the dog in the duffel bag, and don't you know, there was a woof right where they were. So he had me open it up, take everything out. You can't do that. And I looked at the dog, I didn't know what to do. But he says, you can go back into Le Havre and maybe find a vet and have her shipped to the States. He says, you got about 2 hours. So I went back into Le Havre and found a vet. Yeah, he says, I can do it for $125. That left me with $10. So I looked at the dog and I said, okay. And that's what happened. And they shipped her. And about 6 weeks after I got back to Minnesota, then the deep agent called me one morning early and said, there's a dog waiting for you here. So it was, I wouldn't want to go through it again, but it'll be an experience I'll never forget. Very, very, well, at a certain point you get where you're thinking, well, if you make it, fine. If you don't, fine. That's the way we looked at it, you know. And of course we would have a little cognac when we could. And after our tank got hit, we went back, and I thought we were supposed to get coffee and donuts from the Red Cross, and they were selling it. And of course we didn't have any money with us, so we didn't get anything. I'll never forget that. And I give to the Red Cross, but I think I shouldn't most of the time, just because of that. So there was, a lot of experience. It grows a person up, I'll tell you. I was a young kid, and when I come out, I was an old man. For a year, I couldn't get used to civilian life. A little drinking. But I'm over that. Long time ago.
Well, sir, I want to thank you for agreeing to sit with me and take this interview. And, of course, now we've got it stored on digital video, so we can have it there for researchers and historians.
Okay.